living the dream.
With a quarterback like Dylan, especially a young quarterback like Dylan, what role do you guys as an offensive line play in helping him get comfortable? Obviously, providing the blocking and everything, but in what other ways maybe can you guys help him acclimate, help him get more settled in?
Yeah, the best thing we can do is do our job and do our job well. I mean, that's what allows the quarterback to stay on time and stay in the pocket and see things and get the ball pushed, speaking from the pass game. In everyday life, I think the communication and the relationship between the center and the quarterback is of paramount importance. And them being on the same page, identifying things the same way, and in those fractional seconds we have at the line of scrimmage, being able to ID things and be in lockstep.
In what ways have you seen that starting five start to gel together, especially because I think the Patriots game was the first time all year that you guys had the same starting five in back-to-back weeks?
Yeah, I like that starting five. I feel like I'm a better coach with that starting five. I really have a lot of confidence in these guys and the way that they're working, those five guys that started that game, and in their abilities. So I'm always excited to have that group going, and the way they're working in practice, the way they're communicating. It's getting better every day, as it should.
Field, do you see it play out more so in the way you maybe pick up stunts and stuff like that, the slide protections? How do you kind of see that manifest on game day?
Yeah, I think that and the nonverbal communication and just making sure they're on the same page. Every rep we get together is gold. Making sure we see the game through Poe's eyes, and the communication allows us to get there. And then what we're able to see pre and immediately post snap, those are the keys where we've got to make sure we're doing a great job. I think for any offensive lineman, you talk about AAA, alignment, assignment, and adjustment. And, of course, they know the playbook. But the ability to see things and process things in real time allows them to make the adjustment necessary by what the defense does.
You've been around and working with Tommy for a little while now. What traits do you think he has that can make him a good play caller?
Tommy is he'll probably be pissed I say this, but he's a football savant. I was in my third year coaching in the NFL when I was his age. And, he is such an old soul with so much football knowledge. The way that he processes information in this game, the way he thinks this game is so next level. I'm amazed by him daily. So I've enjoyed my working relationship with him since February, and I've learned a ton of football from Tommy.
Do you see him still kind of getting back to where he needs to be, right? Because he missed so much time. It's been stop for him. Do you see him still, struggling, but getting back where he needs to be?
Yeah, I think I'm always shocked at his ability to kind of come back and make playing right tackle in the National Football League seem like riding a bike. And it's always good to have him back from a pass pro standpoint. I'm sure there's something he's trying to kick the rust off of still, but it's not real noticeable, to be honest with you. I think he's playing good football. Got a lot of trust in him, and he's another one that thinks this game incredibly well. And the relationship with him and Wyatt and their communication and lack thereof at times, that they still get on the same page. That's what years of playing this position, reps on top of reps, allows you to have.
When you talk about Tommy being a savant like that, how does that manifest itself, during a meeting or whatever? What does he do that shows you that?
Yeah, there's so many offensive coordinators in the National Football League that think about the pass game and the pass game only. His ability to really process protection and any potential issues, his ability to see things from a run blocking, a leverage standpoint, the creativity he has in the game plan, those are the things that come up meeting to meeting. And, like everybody, there's a lot of ways to get to Chicago, right? And a lot of them work. So we've got different histories. And so it's great to talk through those differences and land on the one that's right for the Browns right now.
He was adamant about wanting to stay, not wanting to get traded. And then he's grateful that he didn't get traded. And he talked about being here long term. Just how valuable has he been for you? And, this line is kind of looks like it might be in some transition going forward. How valuable would it be to have a guy like him around?
I think all four of those vets have given me so much confidence in what we're doing. They've cleared up things in the way things have been done in the past, the way things have called. And so I really think those four old heads have provided tremendous value for me, the offensive unit, and this football team. So I think having guys like Wyatt Teller in the building are just outstanding. I was glad he didn't do the same interview as Dave, but I'm glad Dave's ready to be here too. My kids showed me that video the other night. God bless y'all. Yeah.
The Jets defense in the wake of them trading away Quinnen and Sauce, what are you seeing from the Jets?
Yeah, Mary Kay, I still like it's an NFL defense. Those are two outstanding football players. They're as blue gets in my eyes. But like what we're preparing the guys for right now is the structure of the defense, the combination of Steve Wilkes and AG, which those are two great coordinators in this league, and so really preparing them for the structure and then trying to make sure we're studying the guys we will play against and putting an emphasis there.
You talked about the adjustment part of playing as a cohesive unit, and that I thought about how post-snap disguises with coverages are talked about all the time. But in terms of the trenches, just what makes it so difficult sometimes with adjusting to what the front might do post-snap?
Yeah, so I think like specifically as you talk about the Jets, these guys we pretty much could put on a chalkboard where they're going to align, right? They looks the same at the start of the play, much like what you're talking about with coverages. A lot of people want to show shell and play one high. This defense is going to look the same, and then those subtle movements or the subtle pressures, those are the things that are such a big deal if we're not connected and not on the same page. If we don't understand where our combos are going, and certainly when you bring motion into the equation in the run game or when you bring cross-the-ball motion and protection, those are the things we have to do an unbelievable job with our eyes to get any communication necessary out pre- and post-snap.
Had a good amount of success, but there's been kind of, it feels like peaks and valleys in the run game. Where do you think you guys are from a run game perspective?
It was awesome to have the bye week, and to go back. I think before you can really talk about where you're going, you better study where you've been and what was good and what wasn't. And so I think we have an identification of schemes that Q runs really well and that we block really well. And we're going to lean into those heavily. And there's some more components that through our self-study, you're like, hey, we need to incorporate that more. And another thing for us is having said back. And, you talk about having a receiver back. Why does that help the run game? Well, it just does because of his physical presence. And so obviously he's going to help us this week in the pass game, but his presence in the run game is going to be felt as well.
Wide receivers on like the insert motion and the blocking kind of techniques and schematics of that.
Yeah, I think through Tommy's creativity and some of the things we've done in our past, we have good ways to get them involved in the run game to make sure we have hats on hats. I think CO does a wonderful job. Chad O'Shea does a wonderful job of getting those guys to understand like this or this based on the structure of the defense, this or this based on the post-snap movement, and to get them in the right place to go get those hats on those skinnies.
How excited are you for the changes that you guys have installed over the bye week and what you might see out there on the field on Sunday?
I'm really excited. Like, you're always doing a self-scout. You're always looking at the prior game, but one thing that happens to you is you have so many good calls on a call sheet, and you practice them, and you almost think in your mind you've run them. And so it's great to go back and verify what you've actually called in a game, what a defense sees in you, and what they're studying, so you can get the right counters and you can lean into, again, what you've done well. Thank y'all.
How we doing, folks? All right.
Say about Miles's 5-sack game, and have you seen games like that before? How good was that, and just your thoughts?
No, that was my first time being involved with something like that, and the Monday after, I made it a point to tell everybody in the room, like, hey, this is an incredible job that he's done, and the way he did it within the structure of the defense, it wasn't like he was taking chances. He just played the defense that was called, set edges. He was rushing well. He was doing everything that we needed him to do to be, to be a great player in our organization and help us win that game. And then afterwards, I called him and I was like, hey, man, that was incredible. I mean, I've never seen anything like that in my life, personally as a player or as a coach. And, he deserves it because he worked really hard to get to that area in his game.
Jim was saying yesterday that week leading up to it, he asked, he almost demanded to be in every practice rep.
Yeah.
How have you, not just that week, but how have you noticed maybe all season him, maybe asking for more, more put on his shoulders, more,
The thing is, when you're a great player like Miles, like your standard is extremely high. And, Miles knows that in order for him to be the best that he could be for us, he got to work. And this season has probably been the best I've ever seen him with the way he's worked, the way he's carried himself in the building, in the locker room, in the meeting rooms, at practice. So, when he told me, hey, I'm going to take every rep, I said, okay, cool. I mean, I have no problem with that, and to do that as a defensive lineman in our defense, the way we play, running to the ball, rushing every time, setting edges, it's extremely difficult. And not only was he doing it, but he was dominating while he was doing it. And so I had no doubt in my mind that he was going to have a great game. I didn't know it was going to be like that, but I'm happy it was. But, he's just a guy that just every day he's looking to get better, every single day, and it's a treat to see.
What did you think about the outburst, though, at the end of the game when he was mad about being taken out, throws the helmet? What are your thoughts on that?
And here's the thing about it, and obviously, emotions are flaring up at the end of the game and things like that. But I could take Miles out in the first quarter of the game. He's going to still be the same way. Miles don't ever want to come out. He's a great player that loves to play football. He loves this game, and he wants to win. So, it's football. It's passion. The only thing I told him was, his helmet didn't deserve that. Okay, but I don't mind that. I don't mind a guy just showing a little passion. That's fine with me because it shows that he cares. But at the same time, we're doing that. We have a job to do as coaches. He has a job to do as a player. There was no ill will about it. He was just voicing his frustration. It could be very frustrating. It can be very frustrating at times, especially when you have a performance like the way you did.
Have you ever taken every practice rep before or asked to do that in the year plus that you've been here?
Not the year that I've been here because, obviously we have a lot of defensive linemen that have to get reps. And so, for me as a coach, we got to get those guys reps any which way we can, whether it's through walkthrough, whether it's through film sessions. We got to get those guys mental reps and physical reps. But I didn't mind it at all. I'm old school in the fact that if you want to improve something, put your head down and work. That's it. That's all we can do.
Having a game like that, I mean, what is he like on the sideline? Is he just in a zone? Is he indifferent? Is there anything different about him?
Nothing's different. One thing I can appreciate about Miles is he's the same guy every day. And, he gets a sack, comes back to the sideline. Hey, I think I can get him on this. Hey, what are you seeing? They're all talking on the sideline. Him, Malik, Mason, Alex, Zay, all those guys are talking on the sideline. Cam, and then all of a sudden, 2 comes in. Okay, now it's like, hey, we think we can get him on this now. Whether it's a game, whether it's some kind of natural, whether it's finding your rush within a play action pass. And so he does a good job. They all really do a good job of communicating not only with myself but with each other and what they're seeing out there.
Obviously, the way teams block him and try to prevent him from getting the quarterback, changes team to team in your year. Have you noticed anything? I mean, do you notice even things that you've never seen before? What maybe has been the 1 or 2 things that you've maybe never seen before that you've seen this year from teams just trying to, keep him from getting the quarterback?
Yeah, obviously everybody saw that clip of the Green Bay clip where there was 3 guys on him. And I don't think I've ever seen that before. But, I mean, obviously he's a dynamic player. He's a one-in-a-lifetime generational player, and you have to account for him. And so, teams are going to scheme him up as much as they can, and we got to do a good job of getting him prepared for that. Sometimes I just get him prepared by we just got 2 guys on him and just trying to do whatever we can to block him. We can't block him. I'm talking about us as coaches or guys that are giving him look, on the defensive line. So we try our best, but nothing compares to obviously the game. But he does a good job of managing that. He knows, hey, there's going to be times I have 4 hands on me. There's going to be times I have 6 hands on me. No one's going to feel sorry for me. I got to go out there and I got to win.
What did you see from Mike Hall in his first game back, and what do you project moving forward?
I liked what I saw. That last sack that Miles had, Mike is the one that set him up for that. Mike was in a 2 technique, and he got up the field, and Miles came underneath, and it was really good to see. I'm proud of the young man because he's worked so hard to get back to this point right now, and I like where he's progressing right now. We're going to just keep giving him those reps as much as we can so he can get back to where he wants to be.
Obviously, the outside public looks at the raw stats, and they see the half sack, and judge progression and growth based on those numbers. But what are you looking at, and where do you see maybe beyond the stats? Mm-hmm. What there's true progress being made by this young man.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, look. Here's the thing: we got a great defensive line. We do. Malik Collins is a pretty damn good player, right? Miles, Alex Wright is having a heck of a season this year. Zay's coming in having a heck of a season this year. Cam Thomas can come in and do some great things for us. Aiden, undrafted free agent, does some great things for us. It is hard to get a sack in the NFL. The thing I love about Mason, he does not care what anybody outside of this building says about him. He does his own thing as far as just does his job, and he does his job extremely well. That guy plays the run extremely well, uses his hands well, sheds blocks, is instinctual, and a lot of those rushes, I mean, it's circumstantial, right? I mean, the first rush that he had with Malik where he got that sack, that's a win for him. The one where Zay in the Cincinnati game had a sack, if Zay doesn't get him, he's getting him. So, I mean, he's out there, he's not competing against the offensive line. He's racing the other guys that he's with right now. And I tell those guys all the time, if that quarterback drops back and he takes his ball out, I mean, he has that hand in the air and he's looking to pass the ball, we got to go. It is a race to get to the quarterback. Okay? Miles takes that serious, right? Malik takes that serious. So Mason is doing just fine. I love where his head is at. I love the way that he works every single day diligently. Probably one of the toughest rookies I've ever been around. And he's going to have a great career moving forward, And those things, and I'm sure you guys have heard of this. Sacks come in bunches. And I know his are going to start coming pretty soon because he is winning. He's getting pressure. He's doing everything that we ask him to do. And I know that those numbers will pop up. But to be honest, he doesn't care what anybody's saying or anything like that, or about stats or anything like that. He wants to go out, play ball, and don't care who gets the credit. And I love him as a player and as a teammate on this team.
You mentioned Malik. What has he meant to this D-line?
Malik is a dog. And the mentality that he brings is just extreme toughness, discipline, violence, great rush bag. That probably one of the best three technique rushers in the NFL that doesn't get enough credit for. And so a lot of those guys, they lean on him because he has so much experience. And I've worked with him now. This is going on my third year. Love him as a brother, and I think of the world of him. And I'm glad he's on our team right now.
About his rush plan. How he was talking about how important that is.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see from him when he puts that together? Like, how do you guys talk about that?
Yeah, probably one of those most detailed rush plans I've ever seen in my life. This is a guy that studies everything about the offense. He studies himself, always looking to get better, always trying to figure out different ways to get to the quarterback. And that helps out guys like Miles. That helps out guys like Alex Wright, Isaiah McGuire, that helps out Mason, all those things, Mike Hall, all those, that rush plan that he has helps all those guys out because, I can say it until I'm blue in the face, but the best teams are peer-led, and when you got a guy that's in the room that's a natural leader, that does everything the right way, that works hard the way he does, and then now you see it on paper, it influences the guys around him. So it's been awesome to have him back, and I'm excited to see what the rest of the season does for him.
Interior linemen use the spin move like he does them with such success. Like I don't even see like guys on the inside doing that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just spinning. He does a lot of things that if you study the way this guy rushes and the things that he does out there, you will be, just really just. Surprised at the things that he does, the way he makes offensive linemen move their feet, the violence that he brings, the way he pushes the pocket, the way he sets other guys up for rush success. He's, like I said, I think he's one of the top 5 rushers, interior rushers in the NFL. The stats might not say that, but obviously you see his rush win rate, the type of pressure that he's creating, and what he does for the overall 4-man rush. It's incredible. The ball comes out extremely fast, and there's nothing we can do about that. And our guys are covering their asses off, and we're doing all we can to get as much pressure as we can on the quarterback. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.